waifu time. In this video, I'm looking at the Truthear HEXA hybrid quad driver in-ear monitors. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. Now, you've probably heard, I'm sure, about the HEXA by now. As usual, I am way late with the review for good reason, because I just am. But anyway, look, here's the box. There's a sneak peek of the graph inside. I will show you inside the box today because for an entry level, $79 the price is. So for an entry level IEM, you do get a pretty good kit. First, you get this lovely card. Well, it's a box with the documentation inside. You get a nice soft leatherette pouch. It won't protect your IEMs very well, but it is nice to get some kind of a case or a pouch with an IEM. And here you get a good selection of lovely ear tips, and the largest of which actually fit my ears. So bonus points to Truthear for that. Let's get into this IEM, and there it is. And I've got to say, I am a fan of this kind of low-key, black, stealthy design. It's sort of got this hexagonal shape, hence the name HEXA. And the inner shell, or the main body of the shell, is a resin or acrylic, 3D printed. And you can just kind of see some of the inners through there. And on the front, or on the side, is an aluminium faceplate. We'll have a closer look now, and yeah, they're comfortable. They're really nice. They look a little bit angular on the outer surface there, but actually they fit really nicely. And the passive noise isolation is above average as well. But let's just go over the specs again. So price is $79. It's a quad driver. You get one dynamic driver and 3 balanced armatures. The stock cable is one of those. It's just your generic type 4-core twisted. Look, it's all right. It does get a bit tangly, especially because of these kind of aggressive ear hooks, which are a pet peeve of mine. I don't see the need. But apart from that, yeah, the cable is decent. Now let's get on with it. The Truthear HEXA's sound signature is a nice blend of warmth and neutrality, making it perfect for those long listening sessions where you don't want to feel fatigued. Graph. The bass on these IEMs plays a large part in their satisfying sound. There's an emphasis on the sub bass, and they can get a pretty good rumble going. It's not a massive rumble, but they can. The mid bass may be slightly attenuated, definitely is, but it doesn't sound lacking most of the time unless you really listen for it. Although bass guitars don't get much love here, they're kind of pushed back to the back of the mix. Softened leading edges give kick drums a sense of impact and depth. So kick drums, they don't really have a sharp initial slam, but they do have some impact and depth. So they feel kind of powerful, even though they don't sound all that powerful. I hope you get what I'm trying to say there. The HEXA may not have the fastest or the most technical bass tuning, but it serves the overall tuning perfectly. Now for the mid-range, and the mid-range of the HEXA is neutral, but it's slightly darker due to a dip in the lower treble. So it's got a slightly darker tone. However, it does have very thin note size. The resolution is excellent, thanks to the control of the bass, the separation of the instruments, and that multiple driver configuration. Vocals are clear, but the HEXA does not have that typical sharp clarity that most entry-level tri-fi IEMs have. Instead, it prioritizes tone, and it doesn't really try to impress with excessive detail retrieval or an overly forward mid-range. Instead, it creates a darker backdrop to enhance its musical notes, specifically by attenuating that middle and upper bass. Then we've got the treble, and Truthear they've opted for a safe treble tuning with the HEXA, and that results in a softened, inoffensive treble. You won't hear sibilance or sharpness up here at all, but at the same time, it doesn't really glimmer or sparkle either. So it's a crisp and clean sounding treble, but it's not that energetic. It doesn't sparkle. But despite its laid back treble nature, the HEXA still delivers really good details, though not with etched precision. What it does provide, though, is comfortable all day listening without any treble fatigue. So despite that treble being somewhat relaxed, the detail retrieval is actually really good. Now, about the technicalities and performance, I've already covered those, but I'll say again, the overall resolution and the instrument separation are really strong points for the HEXA. Now, on the other hand, imaging, if you've been looking around at what people are saying, everyone's raving about the imaging on these, and I have to disagree. I think the imaging is very average on these. It's definitely not 3D or holographic. And it's kind of restricted by a very narrow and intimate soundstage. That is a little unusual considering the level of instrument separation that it has and the resolution that it has, that its soundstage is so intimate. And I just find I find positioning to be a little bit vague. It sort of doesn't give you that pinpoint placement of instruments. Considering the tone and the resolution that you get, that's kind of just nitpicking. Now, for some comparisons, starting with the Moondrop Aria. Same price, $79. Aria has a single dynamic driver compared to the quad hybrid setup here. Now, the Aria has less sub-bass extension, but it has more mid-bass punch. And I find this kind of bass tuning a little bit more engaging over sort of a broader range of music genres compared to the HEXA's drier mid-bass. The Aria's bass also has snappier attacks and a little more texture, so it's got more defined leading edges, a little bit more of a slam, that initial impact. The Moondrop has thicker notes in the lower mids, offset by an upper mid-range boost. This gives Aria some additional clarity and brisker leading edges, resulting in more bite on vocals and electric guitars. At the same time, HEXA has thinner mid-range notes, but a darker tone. HEXA's superior resolution is notable here, mostly in the mid-range, and it's most evident in its instrument separation. Treble lovers will find more verve and shimmer in Aria's treble, while those who are treble sensitive will appreciate the HEXA's smoother highs. I find the soundstage on the Aria more expansive and the placement more precise compared to the HEXA's confined soundstage. So technicalities, soundstage goes to Aria, resolution and detail retrieval go to the HEXA. Next up, we've got the Tin Hi-Fi T3 Plus. Now, this is similar to the recent Tin Hi-Fi C3. However, I thought I'd pull this one out because it is $10 cheaper at the time of this video. It's $69, and I think people just need to be reminded how good this one is. I think this is actually better than the C3 because it's got a little more treble energy. So the T3 Plus has a punchier mid-bass and slightly rolled off sub-bass, similar to the Aria. The T3 Plus's lower mid-range isn't as forward in the mix, but it has more bite and contrast compared to the HEXA. Vocals pop more on the T3 Plus due to better layering between, or better separation between the bass and the mid-range. The T3 Plus has a smooth treble, but it's more forward in the mix, and that's due to the lower mids being slightly recessed or scooped out, and this results in a livelier and more dynamic presentation compared to the HEXA's more linear sound signature. The T3 Plus has a more immersive soundstage and superior imaging. Voices and instruments occupy a more clearly defined position on the stage, even though its instrument separation isn't as good as HEXA's. So overall, look, they're both really good on a technical sense. The T3, just like the Aria, better soundstage, better imaging. the HEXA better instrument separation. In terms of fit, I find the T3 Plus even better than the HEXA. These ones just fit into my ears, they kind of just lock into my ears so snug. But when it comes to the sound, I definitely prefer the sound of the Tin Hi-Fi C3 Plus. The HEXA is very impressive, and I've got no problems listening to it all day long. But if I had a choice, I would choose the T3 just because it sounds a little bit more dynamic. It's got that little extra bit of weight in the upper bass and just a little bit less fullness in the lower mids, and that's my preferred kind of tuning. So I find the T3 Plus just a little more exciting to listen to. However, I am constantly being impressed by the HEXA. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Truthear HEXA. Final thoughts. Do I recommend it? Yes, I do. Keep in mind, if you are a lover of mid-bass, bass guitars and things like that, it might not suit you that well, but I think most people are going to love it. It has an inoffensive tuning that you can listen to all day. It's got a really lovely build. In fact, I wanted to say the acrylic on these shells, it really reminds me a lot of the NF Audio, what was it called? The one with the little thing on the one with the video game thing on the front. The shell really reminds me of that, just the way it feels. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were printed by the same mob. But that's a story for another day, guys. So thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it the old thumbs up, Parfam audiophile style. If you're new here and you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Check the description down below. I've got a link to the full written review, along with links to my social media channels. And if you would like to support the channel and help us going forward, why don't become a patron? You can get exclusive behind the scenes content and exclusive video content as well. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. Until next time, see you later.